p.m. Call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Emmy Trustee is not here tonight, and Tim is not here at the start of the meeting. There are no additions or adjustments to the agenda. Next up is the consent agenda. Do you have anything to note?
I move that we approve the minutes of February 12th meeting.
Second. All in favor? And noes?
Abstain. Yeah, also
Abstentions?
abstain.
I don't know, does that pass?
And I'll say, do you want me to,
3-2.
3
I'm
to
not-
2, is that?
0-2.
Yeah, that's fine, okay.
that works?
Or 3-0-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next up we have our Friendship Village School presentation by principal and teachers.
So we have 3 things that we're going to talk to you about tonight. We want to talk about what we've been doing with project-based learning. Sarah and Eva are here with a PowerPoint to share that. And then we want to talk about our thinking for math for next year and our Sabbath reading implementation. We're going to start with project-based learning. You guys ready?
That doesn't work. You can turn it on. Oh, it didn't work before. 1 second, please. I'm so sorry. Do you want to say who
Well,
you
we
were?
should say our 4th grade teacher created this PowerPoint.
Yes.
Give him credit for it.
He did a great job.
Mhm.
He did a great job. We just are the deliverers. I'm Eva Benner. I teach 1st grade.
I'm Sarah Ilvanen and I teach kindergarten.
Oh, rats. I don't know what room number she is.
6.
It's not on there.
Yeah, because you just turned it on.
No.
Yeah, click out and then click back on.
Obviously, I'm not the director of technology.
But he's here.
So-
If you want to be, I think we can make that happen.
It popped up. There we go.
I don't think you want to. By that.
No, hit tap accept at the bottom, right?
Is there a way to get rid of that?
No.
Okay.
Because you don't want people just wandering into your,
Okay.
going down the hall.
Ignore my tabs. Also, don't pay attention to those. I know, sorry. Okay, here we go. What is project-based learning? We learned all about it and then worked together in our grade level teams to implement some PBLs. So,
And then Jamie Beal also came
Oh,
in
yeah,
and helped
Jamie
us out
Beal.
with it a lot, which was nice to just get the idea of how it should be implemented in different grade levels.
she's really wonderful and a very good resource for sure.
So a lot of PBL is really based on collaborating and how collaborating grows your mind. So this is just a chart that he put together. So system thinking, empowerment, it's working on your communication skills with your classmates, your peers, potentially people outside of your classroom, people in the community, empathy, your passion for learning, managing your projects, so knowing when things are due, what you need to do. Inquiry, you're really thinking, your critical thinking is going up a lot during it. And then perseverance, it is a hard thing to do, switching your mindset from typical learning to project-based. It was hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard for all of us teachers as well, switching the mindset of doing a regular classroom into just project-based learning and giving the freedom to the students to really grow and learn through the process.
And we also learned that in lower elementary, it looks way different than in upper elementary because there's so much that they haven't learned yet that you need to lay for a foundation before it can be built upon. So it's really great in the upper grades. So the definition of project-based learning, it's hands-on learning, engaging students through practical real-world activities, collaboration, encouraging teamwork and sharing ideas among peers, problem solving, developing critical thinking by addressing real-life challenges. And you see a picture of our 4th graders, and they did a pizza shop, which we'll hear more about in a minute.
He included some factual things. So since 2000, this has really been researched. it increases learner mastery, retention, rigor, problem-solving abilities. I mean, the list really goes on. The studies were wide and vast, not just on a select group. It was very spread out.
And all of the pieces around the star are all pieces of PBLs. So like having a presentation to the public and then reflecting on what you've done and fixing it and revising it over and over again to see what's better. So those are all the different parts and pieces. Why choose project-based learning? These are actually pictures from my PBL unit. It boosts creativity, it encourages teamwork, and there's lots of meaningful learning that happens.
It's also very like student guided.
Yeah.
In the lower grades, not quite as much. Kindergarten, it's very hard to have them guide a lesson for themselves because they're 5. But as you get older, it's a lot more guiding it themselves and choosing how they want to go about it, what they want to do, and things along that line. Are you?
Oh, it's me? Okay. All right. Okay, well, we'll just show you. You can read that clip for yourself if you want to. Project-based learning is a teaching method in which students learn by actively engaging in real-world and personally meaningful projects. This is one of 5th grade, maybe 6th grades.
So 4th grade chose to do something around pizza. So they've been learning about fractions. They chose to create their own pizza shop, which was amazing. They had to create a menu. They had to design a logo for their pizza shop, design the pizza box, come up with ingredients, and they had to come up with 3 signature pizzas to have at their stores. So they will be making these pizzas and selling them to our 3rd grade class using fake money. So it really, again, is also not just the 4th grade class doing this. They're choosing to involve our 3rd grade class.
Here's the menu. This is the menu they created, and they talked about pricing, and my daughter is in the 4th grade class, so I got an update every day for what they were doing in 4th grade. They had to be able to make a profit, so this is how much the ingredients cost, and if you only charge somebody $1 or 50 cents a slice, you're not gonna make any profit. And then it just all like went back to fractions and how many pieces could you cut your pizza in to make the most profit. So they did a really good job. Their pizza boxes are super cute.
While still making it worth it for the size
If you
of the
wanna see
slice.
them, you can.
We don't do tiny slices of pizza around here.
Alrighty. In 1st grade, we built our own 2D and 3D robots, and we used a range of materials. I don't know if you've heard of 3 Ducks design kit, but they're like cardboard pieces that they look like this, and then you use these clips and they all clip together and you can make 2D shapes or 3D shapes out of them. We also used a beaver bot, which is like a saw that you can use to cut.
7 stars.
And so we use circles, squares, cubes, and more to bring our creations to life while strengthening their geometry skills. We also took this learning to the food pantry with us. We walked over to the Friendship Cushing food pantry, and we helped them stocking shelves while like reminding ourselves what is a rectangular prism, what is a cylinder, and doing all of those things while we were there. So that was really
And the
fun.
beaver bot is safe for children to use.
Oh yeah, it doesn't cut fingers at all, it just cuts cardboard.
It only cuts cardboard. It's like a hole punch.
It's really cool. Oh, here's more pictures. They had to plan first and make a 2D, like a flat version of what they wanted the robot to be, using shapes, and then count up of how many shapes they used. And then, as you can see in this picture, they're literally bringing what they drew to life and making it with the 3 Ducks kit, which is pretty fun. How would you like to learn about shapes? On a piece of paper or by building? If you pick this, then you understand the benefits of hands-on PBL learning model. All right, go ahead.
So the 3rd grade class talked about animals a lot and where animals live. So they were talking about habitats, what they eat, what they need to stay safe all around the world. So each kid got to choose their animal, and they turned it into a hands-on learning project by then learning about this animal, learning the things that they need, and then creating habitat where that animal could stay safe, which they were amazing.
They were so incredible.
So these were up for probably almost 2 weeks, and all the kids in the school would stop and look at them almost every day, just because one of those things you can never, you always see something new.
This one is filled with water, and it's like an under the sea habitat, and it's actually filled with water, which is pretty cool. The second grade noticed that the FBS playground needed some extra care, and their curiosity sparked a big project, and they explored ideas, gathered facts, and used math to figure out the cost of new playground pieces, supplies, and materials. I've also heard a lot about this because my son is in second grade, and so he also had a daily update on his playground and the things that he wanted to include, whether it's a gaga ball pit, or a new slide because the slides weren't wide enough for the older kids to go down. And then they actually, I don't know if it's on here, they used.
So they're math skills.
Yes.
They used math a lot in this project because they needed to figure out, they had a budget. You don't have endless amount of monies to fix things, and it's a real life experience. You only have so much money to fix our playground. So they needed to choose what they wanted, whether it was one thing that was expensive or multiple small things to help make our playground a better place for the school. So they needed to add the numbers together, figure out the place value, because not everything is $5, $10 and easy to add together. So it really pushed their thinking. And then
They also asked the whole school, we did a survey about which one we would like to see at our school, and that's what the big bar graph is over there.
yeah. And then to make it even more hands-on, each student then went in with clay and built the piece that they wanted to add to the playground, so a small model, so when they presented it or went to talk about it, they could show what this would be if somebody didn't know what a gaga ball pit was, didn't know what these certain things are, so they had a model of what they wanted presented, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Can PBL be effective for older students? Yes, of course it can.
So, and this just, again, reiterates it really builds the problem-solving skills, boosting teamwork, which once you hit those 4th, 5th, 6th grade, you really need to focus on those skills and really work on them to be able to work together as a team, because everybody, as you're getting older, and it's really encouraging that deeper thinking, really getting their brains working and thinking about these problems.
They used a data analysis to study causes of infection in a fictional scenario, studying epidemiology, which is really fun. So there's some pictures of 5th and 6th graders. Oops, sorry, that's a slow transition.
So, and this wasn't a one-day event. None of these projects we did it in a day and moved on. These were multiple weeks of planning, prepping, thinking, changing, reflecting on what we have done so far and what we want to change. So nothing in this is a short, quick process, and it's not a black and white yes or no answer to a lot of these things.
Sorry. Our 6th grade students took part in a PBL experience where they stepped into the role of westward travelers. They used key ideas from social studies to understand the journey and applied math skills to map routes, compare costs, and plan a complete trip to the west. It's almost like Oregon Trail. Do you remember that game?
Oh,
yeah, really fun. Like they did some very similar things to the Oregon Trail game.
So, grades are a huge question for a lot of people. Oh, did they get it right? Did they get it wrong? PBL is very hard to do that because there is no right or wrong answer. It's your thought process, what you're thinking. So it's really if the effort's going in and if you're participating, you're following expectations, you're being a team member if you're working in teams and things along that line. So what about grades? You can get a grade on it, but it's going to be very based on your effort, how much you tried, In some project-based learning, there are black and white answers, like with fraction, yes or no, but there's a lot more to it than just if they did it and if they got it right and wrong.
It also gives teachers a good chance to do a lot of formative assessment, so we are constantly checking in, and they are also doing a lot of self-reflection, like how am I with this, what do I need to change, do I need to go back, like when they were building their robots, I went to them and I said, okay, does your robot look exactly like what you drew initially with your partner? And they had to go back and fix it and tweak it if it didn't look exactly like. So there's a lot of reflection. There's also summative assessment tools like rubrics and final projects and things like that that can show what they've learned. But I think the meat and potatoes of it is in the formative assessment.
And then these are just some more pictures about what 5th and 6th graders explored and used. The materials they use to build their renewable energy models. So they did multiple project-based learnings just because they're at that age where it works, they love it, and they became really engaged with it. So their teachers went with it and used what worked for those students to really get them learning and growing and thinking.
Good.
Oh, it's mine. So we did a hot chocolate bar in kindergarten. Kindergarten's not hard to do project-based learning, but like I said in the beginning, you can't just give them a task and send them on their way. So we chose as a class to do this project together. We did a hot cocoa bar, and through this, we had to price out how to make the hot cocoa. What's the cheapest way? Is it through buying jugs of chocolate milk, dumping them in a crock pot, warming it up, using milk and cocoa mix, using milk or water and just figuring out, comparing and figuring out what's gonna be the cheapest way to do it, but still make it correctly. And then we sold it to the school on the Friday before vacation, and we sent out order forms. That's how they chose to figure out how many cups we needed, because you don't know how much supplies you need until you know how much you have to produce. So students sent out a survey, and each kid had the choice to either buy a cup of cocoa for $1 or not. And I think every student bought a cup of cocoa. So then we had to take our order forms, add them up, count the money that we got in, talk about profit. So if we sell them for $1, and it cost us this much to make each cup, are we profiting or are we not? So it was really getting them thinking and using their basic math skills, but in a broader way. But they had a lot of fun. They served all the kids in the school. The big kids loved it. They loved hanging out with the kindergartners. The kindergartners loved the attention. And it was just a great time. They had to create ads to put up in the school, talking about the hot chocolate, how much it was gonna cost. They each designed a hot cocoa stand, what it would look like, what would make people want to come to their hot cocoa stand. Obviously, we couldn't recreate all the hot cocoa stands to sell, but they did do it.
And they also had to count out a very precise amount of marshmallows,
Yes.
so everybody got the same amount.
Yes. We didn't want that fight.
Would you prefer to learn about fractions like that? I like that.
Through pizza or a worksheet?
The right still makes me twitch.
If you chose the animated pizza, then you understand. So step into one of our 4th grade pizza shops. Jalora's friend chose Pizza Planet or Cheese-A-Mole. Taste the fun. And here are some benefits of project-based learning: enhanced critical thinking, improved collaboration skills, real-world application of knowledge, increased student motivation, and then it promotes life learning.
Thank you.
The end. That's it. Do you have any questions?
Yes.
Sure.
Let's see if I can frame this in a way that doesn't take too many words. So, with project-based learning, I think this is going to be a lot of the times the student's first exposure to taking specific skills and applying them to a complex multi-stage project. Now, something that as adults we do an awful lot, and so we're used to drawing on everything we know from everything we've ever done to accomplish something. So I guess my question is, if you could you talk a little bit about the way that the skills that they use to carry out one of these projects are connected or sort of brought up to the level of the general principles, and then when the next project comes on, how they then, kind of do the opposite and take what they have learned to be a generally true thing and apply it specifically.
Sure, I can only speak to my class, so 6-year-olds, but I had to do pre-teaching, and that is not necessarily a true PBL because it's just like early in the stages of PBL learning. There's a whole like continuum that she showed us, but I had to do pre-teaching, like what is a circle, what is a square, like squares have 4 of equal length sides, and then we talked about 3D shapes, and so I had to teach them all of that before. But then, once they understood, actually I didn't even teach it last year, I spent way longer teaching shapes, and this year I just introduced it to them and then got right into it, and I think this year they have a much better understanding of what it was than what they did last year, because they were using it right away, applying it. And then, so we're actually in the spring having to do another PBL unit, and I think they understand the process of me stepping back a little bit further and letting them explore a little bit more, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Thank you.
Anybody else? You get this one.
It's not really, it's sort of like a general question so every school that we go to, I always see like, this is amazing, does everybody get to do this? So is this unique to friendship, or is this something that, like, I don't even know who might know the answer to this, but is this something that happens across the district?
I mean, as a school, this is something we chose to focus on this year to get kids more engaged, more hands-on, and just really deepening their thinking.
Yeah.
So I can really only speak for our school. So I know we're doing it, I know it's being talked about a lot at other places because it is becoming a bigger thing now that it's getting more talked about.
It's funny for me, I mean, I went to, like, I'm just thinking back to my 6th grade year when, I don't know if my teacher was just like way ahead of the game, or this is all we did. And I went from a 5th grade classroom where it was like worksheets and crosswords and the whole, like, rinse and repeat worksheets every day. And the steps that my brain had to take from getting to 5th grade to 6th grade, where it was mostly project-based learning, I still remember crying about it, but I learned so much that year. We did, like, our math was a stock market project, and we each bought, like, different stocks and followed them through the year, and we did, like, we had to build a class fish tank. So it's so, and, you know, I'm old, and still remember how impactful that was, and so I think it's amazing, so.
The kids love it.
My next one, if I can tell them, I'm doing, in 1st grade, we introduced main symbols, so like the moose, the tree, the pine tree, like the pine cone, all those things. And we are talking about like what symbol should be for our school and what symbol should be for our classroom. And so actually, I just talked to Clayton about it the other day. We are gonna make 3D printed coins, and on one side of the coin is gonna be our school symbol that they chose, and the other side is gonna be our classroom symbol, but then they're gonna make 3D coins to hang from the ceiling to like choose one symbol that they've learned about and demonstrate learning effects of that as well, and we'll add to it as we go. So it's just like, it looks different than what the upper grades can do because they need more hand holding, but it just makes it more fun and engaging, so that's all. You have a question?
Yeah, I'm actually wondering with y'all's experience with this, if you're finding, because there, does still have to be some of the doomed worksheets involved throughout the day, and are you finding, that the kids' capacity to be able to focus on those is changed or enhanced at all when you're partnering it with something like project-based learning, because now you get to like do this, and then now it's like, oh, okay, this is something that I maybe want to continue to learn about, so now this workshop isn't killing me like it once would have.
Yeah, in my class, 100% yes, because it's getting them that better understanding, so they really, when they are going to that worksheet, they understand it, they get it, and they're excited to do it because they get to show what they have learned through the activities we have done.
And it's less of us like you know, yapping at them and more of them exploring themselves, which I think is something so valuable.
Awesome. Thank you guys for continuing to implement this. It'll be cool to see. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the schools are doing really cool stuff, and I hope that we see more of this across the board in our elementary schools. Thank you.
I just wanna add one thing to what they said. Project-based learning starts with standards. The standards are not forgotten in all of this. And it's similar to UBD units in that, it starts with a big idea and sets some questions. It's just that the students have choices about projects and where they wanna go with that question. For example, today, I was asked to visit a health teacher's classroom, and the sixth graders had explored 4 topics and created PowerPoints on them. One was ghost trash in the ocean. One was recycling bins in classrooms where we could actually send in the recyclable materials and the school could earn up to $420. One was trying to reduce the plastic in the cafeteria. And one, I'm trying to remember the other one. The other one was also about food waste. So I was asked to sit in and kind of evaluate with rubrics how they did on their presentation, but they were taking the problem that they want to explore and investigate into a full-based project-based learning so that they would come up with a solution for it and put a plan and solution in place. So it really is about, it really is aligned to standards and trying to solve problems, but it's just the idea is real-world application. And the reason we're going down this route is I just feel that sometimes kids are disengaged and it's a way that's much more engaging for students to learn. And I know that our school has an attendance issue. A lot of it's because we have fishing families that take vacations in the wintertime. But I just thought if there was something that kids were excited about every day and wanting to be in school, our attendance would improve. And I know, you heard Eva talk about her kids coming home and talking about it. I know it excites the kids and it's fun for them. And I do think kids should have fun. Along with this, there is still small group instruction. So teachers are teaching along the way, pulling kids in groups. Maybe Haley, when she was doing the math, needed to pull kids and talk about grouping and regrouping. I was the person, you're supposed to invite someone in the end to present to. So I was invited in and presented their ideas about how to improve their playground and what things could we adopt here at school. So their goal was to actually improve the playground, and the things they wanted for the most part, were really realistic. There's some stakes sticking up along the edges of the playground, and they thought they were unsafe, and could these be fixed? We have a piece of broken playground equipment. We've already bought it. It just hasn't been put in because of the weather. Could this be fixed? They want a Gaga pit, and our community club has already purchased the materials to build it, and they're going to build it with 6th graders in the fall. So their ideas about what they wanted can happen, but it's coming from them, and that's kind of the idea of ownership over learning. So anyway, I wanted to make sure you knew all that. It's not just us having fun. We are really aligned to what we're trying to do. No. Danielle asked if I could mention where we are with SAVIS, because I know you hear different stories from different schools about SAVIS. So I just want to tell you, I asked teachers, I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but I asked teachers at each grade level to write down the unit they're on. There's 5 units in SAVIS, what materials they are using from the SAVIS program, and where they need to supplement. So I thought that might be helpful for you as you discuss SAVIS and our reading curriculum. You two can certainly jump in. We are supportive of SAVIS. Our school started out trying to implement it. Would you mind getting into that? Thank you. Are you interested at all in SAVIS? Sorry, Tim.
No, I have the file.
So we started out last year saying that we are going to do this with 100% fidelity, because how can we know what works or doesn't work if we don't fully implement it? So we did fully implement it last year. And there were some of the same concerns that you've heard, you know, about the writing, about phonics. We do supplement. Sarah this year did U-Fly for the first half of the year, and her kids with that foundation are flying through SAVIS. And she had a student who sees me for intervention read a book to me today. I've never seen a first grader this point of the year reading a whole, it's one word on most pages, but he was decoding, sounding it out, reading with confidence, and it was pretty exciting. I brought Eva's book. So Savas has a performance task. Her students had to write, why don't you jump in? What do they have to
They
write?
had to write an informational book and research, and so I had them choose their favorite animal, and so they researched facts about each animal, and then had to write and rewrite and edit and rewrite, and then do the photocopy and all the steps and everything, to show what they know. And then, of course, because it's an informational book, they had to find real pictures to include. So it's really, they're cute.
And remember, this is first grade.
But that's how
That
it
is
started.
fun.
Yeah. Hey, kangaroos, they're pretty weird. They are. They are so weird.
Well, I learned something. Cows can't go upstairs.
They can't.
Their knees can't bend the right way.
Yeah.
I did not.
I
They
didn't know
don't
that.
go upstairs, no.
Whoa,
A tuna can swim up to 50 miles per hour.
wow. Birds are fun, so.
But you can see that our first grade kids are writing, and I think we're seeing, we're really seeing some improved writing skills and reading skills.
And you can also see, like, I have a wide variety of ability levels in my classroom. I have some really, really strong writers and some ones that need some extra support, and they can still do the same task. It's just like tweaked just a little bit, based on what they can do, so.
So we have had to supplement. We, like I said, Sarah's doing UFly. We use Haggerty, which is a phonemic awareness curriculum, which is used pretty much across the district in first, second, and third grade. But where we really thought Savas was weak was the number of texts that kids had opportunities to read. So we have worked hard at trying to build our decodable reading library. 1, 2, and 3 have classroom sets of just by readers, thank you. And we have tried to add to our book room, and we'll continue to try to add decodable readers. We finally, or hopefully it's sorted in a better way, it's sorted by phonics skills along a continuum. Older kids in Savas never read a whole chapter book, so we have win time. It's our intervention enrichment block. We have it across the school every day for all students at the end of the day. So during win time, we have lots of groups going on where kids are reading whole chapter books and getting a chance to talk about it. Starting in first grade, we have first grade kids that are able to read beginning chapter books in book groups all the way up through sixth grade. Other things happen during that time too. You know, if kids need help in writing, there's one group that's really focused on writing process and building writing skills. But we are trying to build in more real book reading during that time. So I don't know if you have any questions about Savas. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it from a lot of the schools, but I do want you to know we are happy to have a curriculum, and we're still pleased to have this. And we're trying, I think, as we get more comfortable with the program, to make it more center-based and moved away from all the worksheets, because I think there is a concern about the amount of worksheets and, for me too, the amount of teacher-directed learning. So I think people are feeling more comfortable. You can kind of see on there where they're adding and supplementing with picking and choosing what works for them.
Are you seeing an improvement? It's hard to tell because every class is just different, but are you seeing an improvement for teachers that have, you know, second graders and a new class of third graders? Do they feel like they have more of those basic skills?
I can speak on last year. So last year we started Savas. It was my first year teaching it, kindergarten's first year using it. So we were learning together, and
It was tough.
it was tough. My kids grew, but I don't think there was as much growth as it should have been because I was very focused on following the step-by-step directions, following the curriculum, how it's supposed to be executed, and things along that line. So this year, I talked to Terry a lot about it. Before the year even started, we chose to implement UFly. I started UFly from the beginning of it, and that's what we focused on for a good first chunk of the year. And my kids are exceptionally farther along than, I would almost say a majority of my class is farther along than right now than my class was at the end of last year.
And you're using the Savas curriculum.
Like, yes, we're still using Savas, but starting with that UFly and giving them a foundation before throwing them into a workbook that has pretty high expectations for them and throwing new words, new concepts at them when they really don't have a foundation was hard. So giving them that foundation this year, I think made the biggest difference in their learning and their growth. And obviously every class is different, but I think that was one of the biggest things this year, giving them a foundation before having those really high expectations for them.
Our ed tech, Chelsea, she spends a lot of time in all of our classrooms. And so she mentioned that it was really awesome because you can see on the paper, we're all at like similar spots. And so we're learning similar things right now. And she says she thinks it's really fun how like I'm teaching opinion writing right now. But so with second grade, it's just like the next step up. It's the same, like it's not the same, it's similar and using the same language and things like that. But it's like the expectation has grown.
And the
And
thinking
so-
on it is deeper.
Yeah, so I am hopeful that next year, when I get her kindergartners, we'll just like soar right through and they'll already have that great foundation and they'll already have the knowledge of Savas and we can just
Keep chugging along.
keep going. I like it.
To answer your question, Leah, I think last year, maybe the kids didn't make as much growth as they are going to make this year, because last year was really a learning year for teachers about this curriculum. I think we're going to see something different at the end of this school year.
I think we already see it.
I have kids reading chapter books already. That's wild.
Yeah, her students,
They're doing so
4 of her half her class can read the beginning reading chapter books. And decode multiple
Because they have such a
syllabic
great
words.
base.
Yeah, it's cool.
Such a great foundation.
So the final thing I wanted to talk about is, and I didn't make a slide or presentation, but just quickly talking about math. So we have a goal of trying to make learning more engaging for students, but we have another goal and of really looking at math. Because when we look at the 2 areas on our assessments at the end of the year, and we have added in a benchmark assessments for math. So when we look at our benchmark assessments, when we look at our progress monitoring for math, when we look at NWA, we score so much lower in math than we do in literacy. Even before Savas, math is just our weak area as a school, or weaker area. We still, it's our weaker area as a school. Most of our students are meeting the standard in reading on Main through year and only about 65% in math. So we know it's an area for us to improve in. It's also a difficult area in the district because Warren has moved to illustrative math. Union has moved to iReady. Miller has moved to iReady. We're still using everyday math and trying to supplement it. So it feels like when our staff, when teachers go to the PLC meetings, there's no common ground in math when everyone's using different curriculums. So basically, what we thought about as a staff is, can we adopt a curriculum that's already being used in the district? Last year, we spent a lot of time talking about problem solving, but I think teachers aren't totally comfortable with teaching math the same way they are with reading, so I think it's more helpful to look at a curriculum. So we were considering illustrative math and we were considering iReady, and I think overall teachers are more comfortable with iReady. So we want to move to that next year. We think with our supply money, it's a little frozen, but we've been given permission to get this. We think we can order the classroom kits for teachers because we could never afford to buy it all in a year with the money we get in our budget. We think we can get with this year's money, the classroom teachers kits, and with next year's money, then we should have enough money to buy the student workbooks. And we really do want to choose a curriculum that's standards-based and aligned to what some of the other schools are doing, so we're not feeling like on the fringes of everything. And we really need to focus on our math scores. So Danielle just said, could you talk about what we were thinking about math? And I know Tom in his presentation said that's an area for the district to look at is math. It's certainly an area we've been talking about and looking at this year. And really our solution is to kind of try to move to a similar curriculum that other people are using. And I think that's what we needed to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening today to what we wanted to share.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Did anyone have any questions?
I'm just curious about the title of that, iReady, is that what?
iReady.
Julia, is it like iPhone, iPad, iReady?
I don't know why it's called that,
Okay.
but it was recommended by our, DOE, the coach that we have from the Department of Education,
Okay,
and What Works Clearinghouse.
okay.
It
It's
is
very
based,
reputable.
it is an
Yeah, I'm familiar with
evidence-based
What Works.
program. And we are seeing, we piloted last year, we had 5 teachers who used the program. We decided this year, after reviewing the data, that this was worth everybody doing. We are seeing much better growth. Kids are thinking and talking about math. And in particular, we looked at just the kids who had it in second grade. One second grade teacher used it. The students who had it there, where are they now in third grade? And they're so much farther ahead. So we really believe that this is the right program for us. And the training that we've received is excellent. We just had someone in, they come to us and they presented at the beginning of the year about the different parts of the program and how to use it, and then they just came and did how to use the reports, you know, because there are so many things. To try and find that stuff on your own is gonna be impossible. And teachers who went to that training in the morning, by the afternoon were already using something that they learned that day. So we're really happy with our choice.
And are all of the program pieces for it, as far as the budget is concerned, is it something that it feels pretty obtainable for, as far as getting, like the classroom kits and stuff for any of our schools? Is
So
it
we
something
started with a pilot.
Yep.
And they gave us a really discounted price.
Great.
So that's how we started.
Mhm.
And then the next year, we got a lot of the kits for free.
Yeah.
And then for this year, I took money, when I was making my budget,
Mm-hmm.
took money to make sure we could pay for the materials.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's been well worth the price.
Union did something similar, they had a pilot, they piloted it this year.
Okay.
The kids love it.
I realized that I skipped over audience with the public. I think most of the people here are here to talk anyway, but if anybody wanted to speak, please feel free to do so. Up next, we have our world language presentation.
Oh, you don't. I'll go first and then.
Sorry.
So tempting.
I'll take more, I know, they were warm when I put them in.
Oh, nice.
Well then?
Thank
How-
you.
how do you-
No, I'm gonna
Yeah, you got it.
abstain, I'll refrain.
Yeah, not really. They were warm when I put them in. Oh my gosh, so good, so worth it.
Just don't even let me smell.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah.
If I had any sugar right now, I'd fall asleep.
foods are good for digestion.
And for your spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, hi, I'm Sarah Street. I teach Spanish at Warren Community School. This is my colleague Maria Rico, and she teaches Spanish at Miller in the elementary school. Well, yeah, Miller is the elementary school. So we're gonna talk about elementary Spanish, and I'll start. Elementary Spanish is inclusive. Every class has a 45-minute session once a week. We have over 270 students in each school. Warren has over 270 and Miller has over 280. Yeah, so we teach all the students. This is pre-K through 6 in Warren and pre-K through 5 in Miller. Instruction includes music and movement, routines, oral repetition, interactive vocabulary games, visuals, gestures, role play, hands-on crafts and activities,
These are all strategies that are great for students with individual education plans, students with diverse needs, such as 504s or gifted and talented, or multilingual learners. So these are just proven strategies that help everyone. We do a lot of crafts. We do hands-on cultural crafts like piñatas. These are some kindergartners making mini piñatas, and they learn about the origins of the piñatas. Here's some. These are currently our 5th graders, but this is when they were in 3rd grade and they made piñatas. The boys chose to paint their piñatas black. So in kindergarten, I've had kindergartners, well, mostly the girls, learning some flamenco dancing, and I wanted to show you a quick clip of them doing that. This is part of learning about different countries that speak Spanish, learning about Spain. Good job, muy bien. Muy bien. So they're pretty natural at it already. Elementary Spanish supports all learners. It offers multiple access points for diverse learners. Approximately 30% of our elementary students are in special education programs. Elementary Spanish provides integrated learning time with mainstream peers weekly. And so that's the special ed kids coming to our classrooms when we teach Spanish, and they're with their mainstream peers. Early language learning supports academic growth. There is a cognitive neuroscientist named Ellen Bialystok who has shown that early language learning strengthens executive function, attention control, problem-solving skills, working memory, and listening and reading skills, not just for the target language, but we're talking about for native language. And she worked mostly with bilingual kids in bilingual programs, just to clarify. The American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, ACTFL, that's where we get our standards from, states that language learning is most effective when students begin at a young age and continue study over a long period of time. 4th graders have been using Twister in Spanish to practice colors, left and right, and body parts, and having a grand time. Older elementary students apply their knowledge. They start to learn some verbs and verb phrases that they can use in sentences. Sometimes they create pretty funny sentences. They created monsters in their notebooks and wrote about them in Spanish, such as, this monster has no hands, no arms, but 25 teeth. And they get pretty creative with this. So they're practicing with the repetition, they're practicing that verb conjugation. He has 1 mouth, he has 2 ears, he has 5 eyes, etc. So they're really, I'm finding that they're really enjoying applying the language and stretching it a little bit. Especially when they can create their own sentences. And I wanted to tell you that I use Google Classroom as a sort of a base for a lot of videos and games that students can access if they happen to have free time in their homeroom, or sometimes we use it as reward time in Spanish. And I also let's see, I just wanted to show you that I had, when we started this program about 4 years ago, it was a year in Warren when we had to add some extra time on our day. I don't know if anyone remembers that. And we had to get creative with what were we gonna offer kids to do. It wasn't just more regular work, it was an extended school day that we had to do. So I came up with a plan that, this is not showing. So let me see if I can get it to show. Well, I just came up with a plan based on students coming to me and saying, it's okay that, we're starting Spanish here at Warren, but can I also learn German? Or can I learn Russian? So I had a number of students, especially older elementary students, that wanted to learn different languages. So I said, well, I'll set up the Google Classroom. These are languages that I've studied. So I set up other Google Classrooms for them to have like independent study time. I have a German language, I call it German language camp, French language camp, Italian language camp, and Russian language camp. So I currently have a fifth grader who is using the Russian one because he's more interested in Russian than Spanish, which is okay, but as he does the Spanish work and then with his extra time, he dives into Russian. He's very, very motivated. So I have those available to kids that are interested in languages. And I just find it wonderful that young kids are interested in languages, that they hear about them and they want to see and hear what they sound like and work with them a little bit. So also I just wanted to offer, if I can get back to this, okay. I wanted to extend an invitation to anyone who wants to come see elementary Spanish in action at Warren or at Miller, and these are our emails. Gracias. Thank you. And Maria Trini, did you want to put up?
Yeah, thanks.
Did anyone have any questions about that?
I would like to see Spanish in action at Union. So this is where I'm struggling, is that my kids haven't had it and they miss it desperately.
Prescott too.
Yeah, Prescott too, and
Friendship.
and it's, I'll just speak to the elephant in the room, I guess, this, it feels against everything that I kind of know to be true about foreign languages and the importance of starting young and so I'm just thinking out loud of, I really wish there was a way that we could make it a little bit more equitable across the district, because my kids have missed it big time, to the point where my third grader has to do Duolingo every day because she misses it, so she's continued on her own. But yeah.
So they had a little bit and then had to stop. Okay.
Yeah.
They're welcome to use this Google Classroom.
Yeah, she would
I'd share that with
love
the
it.
teacher at Union
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing my best. It's hard sometimes to talk. My English is not perfect. I have accent. I am from Mexico originally. And a world language teacher in Miller, right now pre-K to 5th grade. And I write a little bit the goals with the students in Miller. We doing the basic communication with the skills in Spanish, and we're doing different things. We practice, we speak, we writing, we read, they reading and they listen. I have a couple examples there. These kids, sometimes, for example, this is about the Christmas celebration, and we're talking about how we celebrate the Christmas in different countries, and plus where I am from. And they color pictures, and after they were in the computers. In the last 3 years, we were in Rocalingua. They had songs, videos, and memory games, and the kids, they enjoy it really well. And here, the kids, we're talking about the Day of the Dead, and they color mandalas, but that day we watch videos. We're talking about how we celebrate the Day of the Dead, especially where I am from. And we singing songs in Christmas time. We're doing craft. I teach the kids to do the papel picado for the decorations we're doing for the Day of the Dead. And we celebrate in Miller. We started last year with Culture Day. And each teacher, they do different activities. We take one day for that. We're doing this year again. In April 16, you are welcome to come enjoy us. And we have people, they coming. We have one person coming from Panama. This year I like to bring one person from Nicaragua, and he can share how's the environment in the school, how life's there. And we're talking about, and I teach the kids 6th graders, to make tortillas. Yeah, we did, we have fun. I don't share the videos, but I can do it. But, yeah, but we had great experience with the kids. Yeah, and we make quesadillas that day. And the teaching approach, we doing educational games. We talking about, for example, that game, the kids, they play with the dice, and what they do it by partners, and they have to ask the friend, how are you, como estás, and they have to pick the answers. We're doing routines with that. We're singing songs. We're doing a lot of movement and participation for support all the kids. They have different needs. I do it a lot. Visual activities with, slides with pictures, vocabulary in Spanish, and we talk often, the best we can do. And this part, sometimes I told the kids, you're working hard with me, I give you a little break, and we're doing different activities with puzzles, with Jengas or Legos. But we sing songs, we have routines, we're doing different games in Spanish. We review what happened, if they understand the words I say in Spanish. We review that. For example, for pre-K, we trace letters, in kindergarten too, and we're doing repetitions all the time. For first grade, we working briefly with numbers. We have routines always. We're doing greetings, we're singing with that, we're doing numbers, we practice colors, we're doing little quick breaks. We spend really well each minute in the class in 45 minutes. 5 minutes, we start with greetings. For 10 minutes, we practice numbers. We're doing games with that, or we're singing, or we dance. And same with the colors. We're working really well alphabet. They love the Chocolo. Is one dog from Chile. He's singing ABCs in Spanish so good, and the kids, they catch really quick. So good. We practice the phonemes, the sounds in the letters, and the kids, they love it because we share the same video with Sarah, and yeah, and the kids, they enjoy that. We practice syllables a lot, and I can share examples how I do it with them. We practice alphabet, vowels, we practice syllables. I teach them how they need to build the syllables together. For example, with the colors, they know the song, but it's nice to know exactly how we spell the words, and that helps them a lot. And that helps for to read. And one example, after the Ms. Lemon Seller, she says the announcements, they say the day in Spanish. And they feel so proud to do that. They are so, yeah, I can see them, how they feel. They are so happy to do that. I love that. And yeah, it's excited for them. And it's brave, it's good. Yeah, what we're doing, we're reading sentence in Spanish, simple sentence. Math, we're working in math. We do math for not to make bored learning numbers. They know, almost all the kids, they know 1 to 20. We start practicing 10 until 100, but we do math. And we practice especially the question. How much is, cuánto es? How much is 1 plus 1 equal to? And they love that game, especially because I start asking one kid, and after that, the kid, he needs to give me the answer in Spanish, and that kid, he needs to ask another classmate, how much is 2 plus 2 equal 4, right? But in Spanish, and they love to do that. We're doing visual activities all the time. We're doing oral all the time. And sometimes we work by groups. We're doing games, with memory games. That is this picture, they play Blue Kid. For all their kids, they enjoy that, but they review vocabulary in Spanish. Basic vocabulary, colors, sentence, math, transportation, different vocabulary there. Here, in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, we doing the same thing, but we doing a little more high, the level. and they start writing sentences. I have one student, he's bright, and I start doing dictations, and he catch really well the words in Spanish. I love that. That made me so happy, so proud of all of them. But especially that kid has really good skills, and I can tag each class what the students they do so good in Spanish. And well, in this case, for us, it's really important. The kids they have, if it's important for them, if they have visual support, repetitions, practice, and in this case, we doing this one, kinesthetic, and that is so helpful for the kids because sometimes they are too much, they have too much inside it. Sometimes we don't have recess outside or something like that. And okay, we start with the routine. We practice numbers. And they love to bounce the ball on the floor. And we count 1 to 10 or to 20, or we pass around the balls, or we catch the balls, and they love that. I have different games with las pelotas, the balls. And yeah, and we're doing a lot with this one. And in kinesthetic, we're doing one thing. We make partners, and we have to pass la pelota this way, but the opposite way. And it's really helpful for the brain that develop the really good skills in the brain. I told the kids, maybe sometimes you don't remember everything in Spanish, but it's so helpful to develop another skills in your brain. And I enjoy it, and they love that game. Well, the long-term impact, how it's really important to learn language in elementary school. I did work a little bit in the past in middle school and another school too, and I can see how much the kids they learning really quick. Okay, look, it's elementary school. They are the sponge. They learn so quick, and it's good support for the kids in the future for middle school, especially high school. They can do really high level, really strong. And that I can see the kids they feel really confident. And they are so happy to communicate with other people. I have the students, they say, oh, I was in X place, in that place, and I hear in Spanish, people talking in Spanish, and I understand a little bit what they say. And you know, on my experience teaching them, for example, vowels, A, E, I, O, U, I teach them. Maybe we never pay attention, but when we say the vowels in Spanish, in English, we breathe different. Our expressions in our mouth, our face is different. We move different, all the muscles in your mouth, and that helped you. You know, and I told them that helped you for just understand why sometimes when we talk in different language, we have different expressions with the faces. Yeah, it's that. We have a lot. It's good support for them. And that develop cultural awareness and respect for other cultures. And Miller, never the kids or everybody treat me really bad about that. In my case, because I'm not from here, I appreciated that a lot in there, and I have great experience with them. And it's good academic professional opportunities for them. I use my example. I told the kids, they were to come to the United States and work here. I did work there in Mexico for so many years. But look me, I am here. And my English is not perfect, but I do my best. Yeah, and I love to teach you. And yeah, and that helps them to do business. Yeah, I talk with them in different space, what we can do with the language, you know. There's so many things. But it's that. Thank you. And let me know if you have questions. Yeah. Yeah.
Not a question necessarily, but my child is in your class, and growing up, language was always, he had a bit of a language delay. Language was always kind of a sticking point for him. So like when we would speak French at home for fun, he would yell at us and tell us not to speak French. And I know when he entered your classroom, it was a difficult thing for him to do, to be there to just like hear and speak and be in a non-English environment, it was different, whatever it is that triggered him about that, that didn't work, and so it was a difficult transition.
Yeah.
And now he attends, he learns, he goes, and not all the time, but I would say just as an endorsement of your approach and your methods, I mean, you brought someone into your classroom who would otherwise potentially be very resistant to being there and to participating. And when we're out, in the summertime, we're at the store, we're at the beach, if he hears someone speaking in Spanish, he will recognize it and he will greet them in Spanish of his own motivation. We don't prompt him, he just notices, and as we pass by, he'll hold on, and he'll just know. So, not only have you brought him into your class, but he's learning and he's taking it in. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
And you was my pleasure. Yeah, that made me so happy. Yeah, it has different experience with the kids thing. I love that. I had one kid, he greeted me all the time in the hallways when I saw him, and he talked in Spanish. He has really good skills there. I love that. I try for support them. I can share so many things with you. And I don't know if I could, Miss Lemon, tell her, no, I have Thomas, he's doing great, But if not, it's okay.
You have a video.
Yeah, I have to do.
If that one,
It's only him.
Jamie said you could show that one.
Yeah, I could that.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
we don't wanna
Oh,
talk
I
about the
delete.
student in
Sorry.
particular.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We dance sometimes. I teach them the video about Mark Anthony. Is the life, I forget the name in English, but it's prepare, life, and it's positive song, and oh boy, the kids, they love to dance, yeah, to learn salsa and that type of stuff, yeah, it's good. I'm looking for, I don't know if you have another question, but I have this little one, but I don't know.
Don't show one unless it was in your
Oh, okay,
presentation.
okay, I don't do it.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know, I take a hand, sorry. I love to share so many things with you, but I can't, yeah.
I have a question. So, I know that you maybe don't have the kids 5 days a week, right? It's a small amount of time, but can you speak to just the effect on the brain of just developing that language pathway? So even if kids aren't conversational by the time they're leaving elementary school, but how does that then improve later when that might be more so the goal?
See if I understand your question, with the limitation of meeting only once a week.
Yeah.
Does it still have positive effects?
Sure, and does that influence their ability to learn language more in depth maybe later on in their?
Well, on one of the slides that I showed from the ACTFL, which is it's who we look to for our guidance, they say that it's really a process over many years, but starting young just makes it easier, better all around, and in terms of the brain development, I think there would be, I'm not a research specialist, but I did do a degree in bilingual education. So my background is dual language programs. I taught in a dual language program before, long ago, before I came back to Maine. And I was a classroom teacher for a while, general ed. But then when they opened this Spanish program, I was excited to teach Spanish in my hometown. And but I asked early on, what is our vision? Do we want to do sort of more immersive Spanish or not? And we kind of got the guidance to just, make it fun, have it be just sort of exposure to culture. And with meeting once a week, it's really, really limited for 45 minutes. It's really, but we do our best to fit a lot into the 45 minutes, especially a lot of movement because the kids are coming and this is kind of their break time. So we want to make it, as movement centric as possible, and singing and crafts. But to answer your question, that does sort of answer your question, because those things that we do, like I had said in my slides, it's really supportive for all kids. Specials are kind of underrated, I think, because they do support kids, even though it's a break from their regular learning in their classroom. But They're doing all of the different, they're using their bodies and their voices, and then the added second language acquisition is something that, it is a process over a long period, but with the younger kids, their ears are just so wide open, it's just amazing. I just can say things once and they just say it perfectly. So their pronunciation is amazing, their hearing is amazing. I think with language acquisition theory, if you expose kids to, so kids are born 0 to 3, if they are between the ages of 0 and 3, if they hear a language in their environment, they are learning that language. I'm not sure in terms of, I'm not a scientist trained that way, but I'm not sure in terms of how much of an effect does it have meeting weekly versus daily, but I would prefer daily, of course, and I would prefer the immersion method, which I've been trained in, but we're not ready for that, so it's not the right fit. I hope I've answered your question. I kind of went all around it, but.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we also have
Oh, yeah.
our Spanish teacher too.
High school.
Oh, okay, well, so I guess like thinking again, like in what the general conversations we've all been having these other days of the week and thinking about making things equitable across the whole district, et cetera. Just wondering about like if there is flexibility within the curriculum, and again, like we're not talking perfect world here, we're talking about like how is it possible for our students to still have this experience moving forward? Do we have flexibility within our curriculum to say like maybe our pre-K kids can't, maybe not all grades in elementary are maybe have the ability to access the world language programs, but maybe we have the capability with the teachers that we have spread across the schools to say like 3rd through 5th or 3rd through 6th or whatever. And 0 through 3 would be like ideal, we're starting from the beginning, but if we're catching them still, mid-elementary school, still having some of that, in y'all's professional opinion, like impact on, still getting some of that like early education impact before we're moving forward.
I'm just wondering if Danielle wants to answer that question.
Just thinking about like, how do we work with what we got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And is it possible?
I mean, I think it's definitely possible, absolutely. We have, there's a lot of different things we could do.
Yeah.
Trimestres, semestres, something.
Yeah, right, yeah, I feel like we certainly have options. I think it depends on like, I hate to say it, but it depends on like what we can afford and how we wanna disperse it after that. I think the first question is like, what can we afford, and then how can we, for me, equity is a big thing. It really bothers me that 2 of our elementary schools have this wonderful program and 3 of them don't, and that just is really hard. That doesn't feel right in my heart. So I would love to, but I think the big question, the elephant in the room is like, what can we afford?
Right.
So, I don't know if you all understand, world languages at the elementary level is one of the programs that in the proposal has been cut.
Right.
And the reason we don't have an elementary teacher when you talk about equity is because we haven't been able to find one. We had one for 1 year, and we started the year last year, and she came partway through the year. We started the year thinking we had someone this year, resigned in August, and we just haven't been able to find one. So it's not that the district hasn't tried to be equitable, it's just finding someone to teach Spanish is difficult, and then finding someone to teach Spanish in 3 elementary schools.
I have a perfect example. I hired Mari to teach at my school when I was a principal. She was a fabulous teacher, and unfortunately I couldn't keep her because I didn't offer, it wasn't a full-time position. And so we lost her to Miller because it's hard for teachers to work part-way, even if it's a full-time job. It's really hard to be here one day and here and just really set roots and build community with your school in that way. So when teachers have a chance to like work full time in a school, and I learned actually a lot from Mari. So that's why I was able to. I had luck combining positions, so that person may not have just taught Spanish in my school, but did other things to make them full time. And I had a lot of good luck doing that. So it really is about being creative. You have to think outside of the box, and you have to be creative, and there's really no limit on what we can do when we find the right people.
And I like to say, it was hard for me to decide that because I have a wonderful time with you there.
I know.
But I have you here again.
I followed you.
Yeah. But I am brave, I like to share one thing. I could be brave to work in two schools, but it's hard if everybody understands us. It's so hard for us work with whole school and traveling classroom by classroom. It's so hard. It's huge change when we have all classroom, right, Sarah? So different, and the behavior with the kids change a lot.
Yeah.
That impact is the tricky part for us if we're traveling by school. We can do, well, I don't know that, but it's hard. Yeah, mentally it's so hard because sometimes the kids they say, I don't say my name, or you forgot my name. But if we travel to another school, it's hard. It's hard. If they are really patient with us,
Well, let's hear from Ms. Ferrari. She's here from she's our high school Spanish teacher. Thank you guys.
So usually I plug this in, no.
I don't need to.
I usually plug this in so I don't know how to.
Room. And this room, you have to accept it. And now you are
Okay,
good to go.
thank you.
You're welcome. And actually,
Oh.
you might want to tuck it. One
So, I teach Spanish at the high school. My name's Heather Faria. And Tracy Bunker also teaches with me. She couldn't be here tonight. She had some other things going on. So, I'm not sure what all you'd like to know about what we do at the high school, but we do teach level 1 through 4. We have level 1 and 2 are, you can take an honors level or a college preparatory level, and then levels 3 and 4 are just honors level. So we actually are going to be offering next year. This one, we just added this slide. This is a presentation that we show to the kids when we show this in our home bases when it's time for them to sign up for classes. And these are all, this Canva presentation is part of a larger presentation on the electives that they can take, because Spanish is an elective, it's not a required course at the high school. So we're hoping that we'll have kids signing up for conversational Spanish. We found that there was a need for kids to be able to sign up for electives, half-year electives. So we're gonna offer a conversational Spanish. And I taught at Coney High School for a number of years, and we had a conversational level Spanish there. And those were the kids who maybe didn't feel capable of doing what they thought of something very challenging with the grammar. So this was more of a speaking thing, more project type things, presentations that they would do. And so we're hoping that this will speak to some of the kids that maybe feel like, oh, I couldn't possibly do a college preparatory level course. And so we'll do more speaking and more project-y type things. And I think it would be a good transition from the elementary school as well. So we're going to offer it. They can take it the whole year because we'll do different things semester A and semester B, or you could just take it semester A, or you could just take it semester B. So, and I kind of wanted to, well, I've already started, but kind of refer back to what Mari Trini's had at the end of her presentation, that what are we trying to do with the kids? We're trying to make them more globally aware and sensitive, and trying to give them skills, because, you know, you look out there in the world and the skills that they have in speaking Spanish, you are more, like if you have that on your resume, that you have taken 4 years of Spanish, and like my level 4 Spanish, they are conversant in Spanish, because that's where we get them to. And if you have that, if you're going to go work for Horch Roofing, and I have had students there that tell me, oh, the crew all speak Spanish. Well, if it's between Cameron and Josh has the 4 levels of Spanish, and he can speak to the workers, well, I'm going to hire him, and Cameron, maybe I'll hire you later if I really need someone, but he's going to work up and he's going to be a manager because he has the skills. It's a skill. And previously, maybe we thought of language as being, oh, wouldn't that be nice, because maybe I'll, spend a weekend in Mexico. But it's not just for fun and vacation, it's a skill to have. And it also does with what we try to teach them with culture and tie in current events in our country and other countries. It makes them more aware of what's going on in the world. And so I can show you the other slides too, what we do in Spanish 1 through 4. So we're focusing on acquiring vocabulary, working on their pronunciation. We had a quiz today where the kids were on purpose saying the words wrong. And I said, well, you know what? I'm including it on the quiz next time. So they had to sit with me and they had to say the words. And they know they can do it, and they do it, and they feel good about themselves. And the quizzes that a few years ago, I said, you know what, I think I'm just gonna have a quiz where they see the picture of the thing and they have to say it. I don't know if it's gonna work, I don't know if they can do it. They did it, and I was so proud of them, and they were so proud of themselves. When they get the skill of being able to speak, they are so proud of themselves. And where we're at now, since we're in the halfway through the third quarter, the chapter that we're in is about food, and I can ask them questions. ¿Qué comes para el desayuno? And so they write their answer on the board and they hold it up and they can answer for themselves. And we're working towards being able to speak a response. And this is for the end of, by the end of level 1. And so when they acquire these skills and they feel so good about themselves, and really, you want the kids to feel good, like I can do this, I'm capable of this. And you do hear them say, oh, I was at the store, or I was on vacation, or I was here, I was there, and they were speaking Spanish, and everyone wanted me to, to translate for them. And they just, it's really, it's part of the overall growth of the kids, I think, is to gain these skills and to, feel like I can do this. This is difficult, but I can do it. So, and I love seeing that for them. So Spanish 1. We focus on vocabulary, their pronunciation, so they can make themselves understood. Cultural exploration. Spanish 2, they go along building their skills, and we do, address all the standards, being able to hear and comprehend, being able to read and comprehend, being able to express yourself, and people being able to understand you. And so then in level 3, we start speaking every day, or just about every day. We have a semicirculo, and they love the semicirculo, and they maybe have a question on the board. ¿Qué hiciste este fin de semana? What did you do this weekend? And they have to write something, and then we get together and we speak about it. And that starts in level 3. Well, we do some in level 1 and 2, but really more conversation in level 3 and 4. And Spanish 4, I try to use mostly Spanish in the explanations, and we do a lot of speaking, and a lot of the seniors I had last year went on to continue to study Spanish as part of whatever their other studies were. So, I'm sad to know that elementary is maybe on the chopping block, because I think one of the things you're doing in elementary school is you are introducing them and making them feel good about the language, so that when they get to high school, they feel comfortable taking it. And it's just, it's like, they started out learning the numbers and then to add and it's a gradual, it takes a while to learn something. And so with the learning Spanish in the elementary school, it's a gradual process of learning. By the time they get to high school, our hope was that we'd be able to even maybe offer an AP level of Spanish or a high, level 5. But, I guess we'll see what happens. But, so, and like the elementary school teacher said, come by any time. I mean, I don't know what the rules are for visiting schools, but really, I would love anyone to come in and sit at the back, because to me, I have to stop sometimes and say to the kids, do you realize you're understanding what I'm saying? Do you realize that you are speaking to me in Spanish, that we are having a conversation? And I think it would be great for, people to see, look what these kids have gained, look what they can do. So, come anytime. So, I don't know if you have any questions. Nope. All right. That's all I got. What do I do now?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. click on this icon right up here. On your.
On here?
Right by the clock.
Very small.
Yes, and then click on screen mirror. Next one over.
Here?
Yep. And then click on the blue dot. And you are off.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, up next, we have our technology guru.
With the permission of the chair, as it is 6:30,
Oh.
and we could go till 9 with everything that I have planned for you. I can't make a motion, but I know it's been.
Extending the meeting, does anybody want to make a motion to extend the meeting? Maybe not until 9, but.
No, but I can hold off to the next meeting if people would like to, or we can do this. Totally up to you.
I make a motion to extend the meeting so that we may appreciate Ian's thoughtful presentation.
All right.
All in favor?
Not really, but okay.
Danielle, would it be okay for the language teachers to leave, or should we?
Oh,
say-
yeah, absolutely,
Oh, okay.
yes, and thank you guys, I did a
Thank
little
you.
morning, thank you guys very much.
All right.
You made the motion. And you seconded it.
Oh, sorry, Rachel seconded.
Okay, so Rachel Wilcox and Rachel Moss, okay.
Oh, sorry, Tim, you have these voting. Did you vote?
Yes, I did.
Did you say yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Well-
sorry.
No, no.
Want to join us?
Well, thank you for extending tonight. This actually works really well on the tail of what Friendship has talked about in the project-based learning, what, the talk about how do we integrate technology to provide opportunities for students to learn different languages. All of these are really great examples of technology integration. And as we talked a couple of meetings ago, the big goal in our district is to inspire students to achieve lifelong success. And I think we do that by not teaching them science, but giving them the experience of being scientists so every student can see themselves in that role. Owning a business and being an entrepreneur allows students to understand that you have to learn stuff to run a business, but it is within your reach if you want to go down that road. And so worksheets are not inspiring. I think that was a big takeaway from today. Having a challenge put in front of you or a project put in front of you, said, you're gonna design a robot, gets kids thinking like, I don't know how to make a robot. So how do they use what they already know? They get to wonder, what do they need to learn? And it fuels the inquiry to know the shapes, because you need to know your shapes to make a robot. Traditionally, when I was a kid, and I'm 50, the project came at the end of the unit. It was the capstone that maybe you got to it, maybe you didn't. It wasn't embedded in the learning, it was the fun thing at the end of the learning. And sometimes the kids avoided the learning because they didn't like the learning, and then the project was just a poster that didn't connect to anything. So models like project-based learning, meaningful technology integration, are ways to allow us to have put students into the roles and start thinking about themselves in the future. So, technology integration is the purposeful use of digital tools, underline purposeful, as an avenue to differentiate learning, capture authentic evidence of success, and engage in meaningful reflection in order to deepen understanding of the standards. Whew. I wordsmith that a lot with Gemini's help. We need to enhance students' understanding with multimedia tools, with writing tools, with digital portfolios. We can capture real-time evidence of learning that is permanent, that doesn't live in a folder, that can be shared with parents, can be kept for years if students are looking at their work longitudinally. Reflection and metacognition, thinking about learning, is one of the big things that John Hattie says drives optimal learning. Nothing is more impactful than thinking about how you've learned, what did you do well, and how can you transfer that moving forward. Personalization. You can have students work on different topics and not have the teacher tied to every group all of the time. You can set up structures where learning can be personalized, learning exceptionalities and accessibility can become more of a thing. Screen readers, screen recorders. There's some great tools that will translate language for learners of language by just taking a photo of it, and it will turn the whole text of the sign or the blackboard into a foreign language. I know. See, I could go all night with this stuff. And then build transferable digital skills and practices. We want kids to be able to manage their online selves and their digital selves. We want them to learn about intellectual property. We want them to learn that what they create is permanent and reflects on who they are and what they represent. And we know that they emulate TikTokers nowadays. We know that they consume media in ways that are maybe antithetical to traditional education. And we can't shy away from that, but we can't fully lean into it either. Because what they make it reflects on who they are. So we want to make sure that they're creating and sharing high level, high quality examples of what they've learned. Technology is a tool, it is not a container. You don't go on your device simply to absorb a content. You use it to go through content in a way that helps craft your learning. We want it to be creative instead of consumptive. When we talked about screen time minutes, back at the high school, whatever date that was, it's hard to quantify the number of minutes because not every minute is the same. There are some times, like we talked with Lexia or iReady has a digital component where students are going to use tools because they provide a flexible differentiation opportunity. Students can work on the skills that they need to work on, not everybody marching at the same pace with the teacher. We also want them to create and to analyze and look at their world using digital tools. Once again, these are the tools that they have in their lives, and we want to make sure that we're giving them the opportunity to learn how to use them in a positive and beneficial way. And we want to inspire students to engage in their own learning by creating authentic experiences. Pizza shop, great example. Everybody eats pizza. Low barrier to entry. That Beaverbot. It is a jigsaw for a cardboard. The 3D printed coins, you're gonna make a coin. Well, I don't wanna make a coin. What do you put on a coin? What is important? What are the values that we have on a coin? So the technology is a way to model and produce in a way that is unique for the students. And it gives them that artifact of success. Part of the project-based learning talk was understanding by design. Understanding by design is a framework by which we do our curriculum and plan our lessons. It's backward planning. You don't say, I want kids to make a book. And then you have to pigeonhole and dovetail the learning into the bookmaking process. You start with the standard and you say, okay, so how can we get kids to engage in it? What can we do as a product? And how do we scaffold in the skills for them to get to that endpoint? So stage one, identify the desired results. What do we want them to learn? How do we want them to show us what they know? Stage two is to determine the evidence of success. How do we know that they've gotten there? Or how do we know that they're getting there along the way? And then plan the learning experience is the last piece. By starting with the standard, you can take it in all sorts of different directions. How many ways can you teach a kid fractions? You can cut lots of things up into equal pieces. Pizza is just one of those ways. And that gives teachers and students a lot of voice and choice with how you teach that lesson. And technology, very little technology was used in any of those projects. They made playground equipment out of clay. Amazing. They also took photos of the playground, you know, with iPad before that, and they analyzed it. So technology is a way, it's not the way, and if we're gonna use it, we gotta use it at a high level. I don't know if you've ever seen this commercial. It's for Apple. I'm a little bit of a shill for Apple. And this was released a few years ago talking about the iPad. And if I can get there.
This week's homework? Gravity. Projects are due on Friday, please.
Homework. Oh, homework. I hate you.
You guys ready?
You stink. I wish I could wash you away in the sink. I'd rather eat spinach and liver, pet 10 porcupines, than tackle the homework my teacher assigns. Homework. Oh, homework. You're last on my list. I simply can't see why you even exist. If you just disappeared, it would tickle me pink.
Next up.
Homework. Oh, homework. I hate you. You stink.
The lesson was gravity. He let the kids go. Now, if I ever got an iPad back that was full of saliva and watermelon, I probably would not be very happy with that student. But then he'd show me the video, and I'd be like, oh, that was pretty cool. Don't do it again, right? So as we hit our thoughts about technology integration, what I want you to, and this is why it's like this could go on for hours or minutes, depending on your energy level. I want you to think about a lesson that you would like students to go through. You are a professional learning community of third grade teachers. You're putting on, what do I want my kids to do? Okay. You need to create a unit for the next gen science standards, motion and stability. Oh, it's getting good. I am going to give you the desired results because the desired results are based on the standards. We don't make the standards up. The standards are adopted and given to us. You can't just like, solar system. Nope. You're told what we're supposed to be doing. The standards that we are trying to create a project for is to plan and conduct an investigation to provide evidence of the effects of balanced and unbalanced forces on the motion of an object. Some high-level Tom and Jerry stuff. Make observations and or measurements of an object's motion to provide evidence that a pattern can be used to predict future motion. Class, are there any questions about the standards?
I'm glad that we have at least one teacher here.
Yeah.
They always have an essential question. Why do things move? And if you're doing an interdisciplinary unit, forces that cause people to move are not always physics. Why do people move from one part of the country to another? I got out of the city because the force of population, off I went. Why do people move from one country to another? What forces are that are unbalanced in their life that cause them to go from one place to another? Okay. We're talking about physics, but why do things move is such a universal concept. I am moving because my life is out of balance. My relationship, my financial situation, my career happiness, something is out of balance, so I'm gonna move. We're not talking about love life. We're not talking about my house is too small for all the kids that I have. We're gonna talk about physics. But when you craft a good essential question, it goes up the scale in terms of complexity, and it goes breadth in terms of subject area. The things I want kids to know. Forces are everywhere, even if you can't see them. There are forces keeping this wall up. I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure they're there. When things don't move, there are still forces, they're just in balance. And scientists use patterns to make predictions. Just take a moment and think about how could you get a student, how many different ways could you get a student to demonstrate things don't move, they're in balance. Doesn't have to be with technology. 2 small kids on a seesaw, 1 really big kid. They're in balance. I don't know how many of you tried when you were a kid to balance with your sibling on the seesaw by moving a little bit further up, moving a little bit further back, clumsily taking the fulcrum of the seesaw and clunking it over the bar, because there was only remember they had three options for the seesaw, and you could pick it up and move it. You need 6 friends because they were heavy. But how can you get out of the idea of where we're going to watch a YouTube video and do a worksheet? We can still write essays. You can still use prose. Prose is perfectly valid. Prose doesn't work for everybody. The long-term skills we want students to be able to keep is analyze the world around them and understand why things are moving or staying still. Why isn't your car moving on the ice? And to look at data and observe patterns to make predictions. That car is going really fast. I don't know if it's going to be able to stop. Let's make some predictions based on what we know about forces. Stage 2 is to determine the evidence of success. What is your final project or product going to be? What hat are you going to put on the students? Are they going to design a roller coaster? And talk about why they stop before they get to the top of the hill and then start scooting backwards? Are they going to be playground safety experts? Are they going to design a vehicle that can transport an egg from the top of the building to the ground?
Oh, is my favorite.
And explain exactly how it works, rather than, I'm just going to put a bunch of tissues and bubble wrap and tape.
In Warren, they were doing
Yeah.
that today.
It's not just shoving stuff in the box to make sure the egg stays safe. Can you explain how the forces are in balance so the egg doesn't absorb them as much? What assessments will be done along the way? How can we build opportunities for personalization and differentiation? How can we work on reflection and metacognition? Where I'm going to sit down for 30 seconds and let you talk, or even think. If you were designing a project, what would be the final thing that kids are working towards creating?
Originally our creative one?
Well, now I can't stop thinking about the egg drop. And how many egg drops I've done in my life, and it's a lot. And I always revert back to a coffee filter parachute, and it does not work.
It does not work.
No.
What is the role? Engineer?
Engineer.
What role are your students assuming?
Yeah, I would say engineer makes sense.
Engineer.
Yep.
What is that evidence of success going to be look like?
So I guess, are we talking in the reality, right? Like evidence of-
You are a 3rd grade teacher.
Okay, is your egg broken or is it not, is it splattered or not splattered?
You have a mess to clean up?
So an egg
Yes.
conveyance. You work for NASA?
What did you write?
Conveyance? Some sort of conveyance for the egg?
Conveyance.
Yep. So you wanna keep it safe.
Who's not a first grade teacher?
Alright. How will you know that kids are understanding the ideas of force? And don't say their egg doesn't break,
Yeah.
because sometimes kids get lucky. There's nothing worse than I don't know why it doesn't work, and I really don't know why it did.
Yeah.
Because then you don't know the patterns.
I guess it's like having them explain to you why they made the choices of their vehicle, right?
Okay? So they are going to use some sort of reflection and metacognition to explain their choices, why they worked and didn't work. What else?
But I guess like, can we then, if we're talking about using integrated technology, can we also be like recording these and watching the velocity of the different egg vehicles coming down and measuring those against each other?
Absolutely. Slow motion, do time against a ruler.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we know its speed. We may even talk that force is equal to mass times acceleration. If we know acceleration is gravity, which is 9.8 meters per second.
Listen,
And
when I made this motion, I was not aware.
Yeah,
Now I'm like,
right,
time
that's why I
is
said, like,
irrelevant.
we can do lots here. Okay, we're gonna get rid of that. You could have students, oops, of course I need my pen back.
I'm still like taking in, I was a vis-a-vis on the like overhead projector kind of kid, like.
Yep, totally.
You could have students, so we have a seesaw. You could have students draw arrows representing the force. If one kid is remarkably bigger than the other, their arrow could be massive on the photos. You could have kids doing marble runs. The higher the marble, does it roll further? If the ground is, if this is carpet, how is that different than tile? How is that different than sand? In terms of how far it goes. If they can explain friction simply by things that are rough, the marble doesn't go as far as things that are smooth, that is a pretty high level idea for
3rd grade.
9-year-old, 10-year-old. They could keep all of that data in a spreadsheet. Ah, we love spreadsheets. We're using a lot of them these last couple of weeks. So you could teach them how spreadsheets could be used to share data, average data, compare data. So all of the kids with all of their marbles could be aggregating their data, because then we know the validity of a larger sample size. All of these are skills that students are learning once they put on their engineer hat and stop being consumptive in what they're learning. Then get to the next one. Oops. There we go. And then we start planning those learning activities. What is our hook? What is our kickoff event? How do we start talking about balanced or unbalanced forces?
Should we break some eggs?
We can absolutely break some eggs.
Breakfast.
Sure. Omelets are great.
Gotta break a couple eggs to make them.
Do we have the kids play tug-of-war? When did we start moving? When did we not move? Do we run things into the wall, like a ball or a tennis ball? And we record it. What happens? How heavy does the ball have to be to knock off the book? Right. All of these things can be simulated. So once you kick it off, and that's when you say, tell the kids, hey, we're gonna do a pizza party. You guys like pizza, right? Yeah! You get them all excited. What do we need to know? Do you bring in an expert in? Do you show them the Mars lander that they used big inflatable balls around it and it bounced to safety until the force is normalized? You're gonna build a moon lander. Oh. Right? So then how do you have them experience these things? How do you have them independently explore what they don't know and then connect back to the big ideas? Reflections, Seesaw the Learning Journal, drawing on photographs, recording themselves, having conversations. Nothing that they're doing is consumed from the screen. It's captured by the screen, analyzed on the screen, and then refined and improved. Then you rethink, revise, and refine by layering in the vocabulary words. Right? And then you have that opportunity to evaluate and reflect. All of these things along the way could be done on pen and paper. All of these things along the way could be done in a journal by writing. Some of these things could be done with physical drawings. Some of these things could be done with photographs. The technology integration just allows the opportunities to capture things, to reflect on things, and to share things in ways that paper may not be available. And then if you really want, you bring an engineer in via Zoom, via Google Meet, or in person to get them to look at the work that students are doing. Okay. So the idea behind technology integration, and actually, that was pretty quick. The idea behind technology integration is not, here's an iPad, we're gonna do stuff with the iPad. It's, we are going to do stuff, meaningful, authentic, engaging, multimodal, and we're gonna use the iPad, the Chromebook, in ways that enhance, augment, or just amplify the experience. But it doesn't have to happen. You could make pizza boxes with cardboard. You could use Canva to make your pizza boxes. You could make the pizza box virtually and then print it out, share it, send it to a pizza box manufacturer or a graphic designer for them to evaluate your design, right? But the idea of just sitting and getting with the device is not why we invest in the devices. It's how do we use them to amplify the experience so that, you know, the kids who want to go throw watermelons off overpasses and lick, you know, watermelon juice off their iPad are doing that in a way that's also extending their learning. So, think like integrators.
Well, what I'm thinking here
Yeah.
is looking at this, a lot of people have the opinion that we throw a bunch of iPads out in front of these kids.
Yep.
And that they, because we don't have textbooks anymore.
Right.
Okay, Lord forbid that we open a book, right? Soon we won't have libraries because they're just gonna have it all on the iPad, you know, that's the opinion that people have of it. Having the kids do these type of things, like even when they were talking about learning language, okay? I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, remember zilch.
Yeah.
Okay, never used it, okay? So, but these kids are getting up and they're moving. And they're not just sitting in front of a screen. Yeah, they're using the screens at different times, but they're actually doing things. You mentioned like having a tug of war, dropping an egg off a building, whatever it might be, bouncing a ball against the wall, all those type of things. It's them doing it, and they're also getting the experience of what it is to have failure in their life. Because I think we're almost at the point with so many of our kids, I have a guy I'm training at work that if I give him a project to work on and he makes a mistake, he gets all upset if I point that out to him. Because he can't, he wants the gold star every day. You're not gonna get the gold star every day. And when you drop something off a roof and it smashes,
You didn't get the gold star?
Correct, but it's failure, but it's something to say, so we're gonna revise what we just did. How do we go back and learn that and learn from those mistakes? And it's so important, because in life, we're gonna make mistakes.
And I'm sure that our teachers from Friendship, they had kids going, am I doing it right? Is this the right way? I'm not gonna tell you.
Yeah.
You're gonna do it your way, as long as it's
Right.
safe. Am I done? That's the other one. Am I done?
You tell me.
Yeah, are you done? Have you hit the criteria?
Never done.
The only thing that you can do is run out of time. And that's when failure really kicks in. It's like, oh, I wanna do it one more time. No, just tell me what you would have done.
Well,
Or
that's why when you
yeah.
put the project at the very end.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do get to the end of the entire thing, and you're cramming to try to get that, and you don't have time to test and revise things.
Yeah.
And you go ahead and you're gonna do the volcano. And no, it's not a volcano. It blows out the bottom and it's like, okay, so did you fail? No, but in their eyes, they may feel that way. But this is good.
Yeah, if you make the project the goal,
Right.
and every step you do is intentional with refinement and reflection, by the end, it's almost impossible to fail. Because you've done the work to get to that point, rather than it be the fun add-on for the kids who got everything else done. There are some kids who don't get to do the project because they didn't get through the learning. And boy, what a kick in the teeth it is to be a struggling student. Some kids get to do the fun extension, and you get to do another worksheet.
Yeah.
Rather than the project is the work, and we will layer in the complexity of learning and the depth of concept. Because how many of you remember every general from the Civil War? Not me. What were the big takeaways from the Civil War? The lasting and enduring concepts are relatively fundamental. Wasn't good. It was about, land rights and federal rights and slavery. We don't want to do it again. These types of things rip families apart. The enduring, long-lasting lessons are more important than the discrete ones. So as we work through the project, can we remove the discrete to make sure the kids get the general and feel successful?
Ian, are these like, these types of presentations and these conversations, are you, in the course of your kind of like general time at the district, are you able to have these types of presentations at the schools and with all the teachers as a part of like encouraging continuing curriculum in this way?
My hope going into year 2
Yeah.
is that I have more of a leg to stand on to have these conversations. Seeing the work that's going down here.
Sure.
Danielle is starting her curriculum team and curriculum leaders. Heather Webster, who is the teacher coach
Yep.
that works with me, she and I have done a lot of prep work to get going into this place. But I also think that if we have the means to move from Chromebook to iPad K4, that is a disruptive change in the technology that will provide people an opportunity to explore. And for this type of work to be easier.
I mean, that would be, when we think about like what, and as a parent, right? Like what a dreamy district would look like, it is like moving more in this direction. And I think every time we have these types of presentations, we all leave feeling very like inspired and hopeful that this is what our kids will get to experience. And that there is continued, there's continued, we're showing everybody that again, yes, integrated technology does not mean that a kid's just doing a workshop or a worksheet on a screen instead of on paper or whatever. Like this feels really
We're able
exciting.
to go places with kids that we wouldn't have been able to do without technology. We're using that to enhance
Yeah.
our experiences with the kids.
Yeah.
It's gone are the days of sitting and getting, whether you're doing it from a teacher talking at you, or reading a textbook, or reading a screen. It's not about that anymore, that's not, we have to do better than that, and we are doing better than that, but it's not sitting and getting anymore.
And that's the entire, like, sort of vision of this district is like, how are you successful in the 21st century?
Right.
You use your melon, kids, like, you
Yeah.
can't just regurgitate
Right.
the information. You know, we had a good
Yeah.
I forget what we were talking about, but one of my kids asked a question, and I said, well, what's the evidence? Like, what are you seeing that supports, in Bristol, she said, I don't have any friends. I said, whoa. I said, has somebody told you that they don't want to be your friend? Is somebody being mean to you? Like, the evidence that I see is that this person talks to you, and that's like the thinking part.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
I see one more worksheet, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
Well-
experiential, more experiential.
The thing that I'm finding, I think that because we have conversations a lot about this, is we know, like, it's a big district and it takes long it just takes, you know, and but then you hear places like Friendship who are starting, like, people wanna do this.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, we have to get build systems and get all going in the same place.
It would
We're
be-
getting there, but we can't do it in the first, you know.
It would be nice to spend our PLC time next year working in grade level teams, coming up with
Talking about
common
projects and.
projects, common experiences, sharing the understanding by
We dream
design
of
and
this a lot. This
project-based
is where we
learning
wanna
model.
be. Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you roll in at the end of July.
Right.
And
Or
everyone's
August.
like, I just gotta set up my classroom, it's
Right.
like, no, come talk to me about technology integration, they're like, we don't have the capacity for that.
Right.
But I think it's important, and it will take a couple of years, and it will take evidence of success and teachers supporting each other and
Right.
administrators making it a focus. But I think it's remarkably possible.
Well, I just want to, I mean, I know you two are still, you guys are still back there, but sort of the impact that it has on even adult learners, like that 6th grade teacher who like, the going from the sit and get the worksheets and like the shift that my brain, I'm 43 years old, we still exchange Christmas cards.
Right.
So that project-based learning, like,
That's what you
impacting
remember.
these kids, it's not the easy way out, and so I'm just grateful to hear that this is not the easy way to do it, but it's the right way to do it, in my opinion.
And I think it also like kind of ties back into the like marketability of,
Right.
it's like all of the things of like
Right.
getting more students, right? Cause now you're talking maybe students that would be going to Montessori school or
Right,
whatever, like
exactly.
because parents want that experience for the
Right.
kids that maybe now we're wheeling into our other schools. So I think it's like there's these huge
Right,
rippling
we have so much
effects.
potential and we have the perfect, like, opportunities to do these wonderful things that will market us. We're like, we could be a private school at a public school cost.
Correct.
When you're talking about like also integrating all of our students, because this is much more accessible for
Right.
kids that might otherwise be a better fit for an alternative program or special
Exactly.
education
Yes.
program. There's all of these different access points that they have, that this offers them, that they're not given when they're.
Well, they're
trying to
living
prove
the
their worth.
learning, they're feeling the learning. It's just so much more engaging and.
And you have something.
Kind of a high level question, but this conversation that we're having and hearing that Friendship kind of took it upon itself to pick up project-based learning and, you know, not just try it on, but really see what they could do to make it work. I wonder in kind of the very big picture view, if even though what we really want is to make sure that a student anywhere in the district at any of the schools is getting, you know, not just the same experience, but a good experience. So if something is working in one place, we want it to be available to the other schools as well. Is it a reasonable model or idea to think that some of these smaller schools with fewer students, fewer staff, fewer administrative departments could be test beds and incubators for some of these ideas to do something quicker, do something lighter, and then if it works, start spreading it out from there. So like if Friendship does project-based learning and it really works, you know, then start promulgating to the other schools. If they try something and, you know, this is kind of a bust, you haven't invested as much time and as much energy into giving it a shot versus like, okay, this year we're all gonna try writing backwards because I read somewhere that writing
Yeah.
makes you write better.
Right.
Oops, no, it doesn't. Well, dang, that was a whole year of
Yeah.
education wasted.
Well, I think Terry can speak to the experience, because she's been the champion of this work in this building and has gotten her staff to coalesce around it, to talk about, you know, what the buy-in looks like. And I think if everybody's doing it and sharing the misery and the joy and the war stories,
I'll be fully
It's-
honest.
yeah.
Oh, you can.
No, go ahead, and then I'll say.
In the beginning, we all looked at her like she was absolutely psychotic. Like, I will be 100% honest. I was like, you are crazy. This is crazy.
You never say that to me, though.
No, of course not. You are my boss.
It takes so much time.
Like,
Yeah.
we looked at her like,
And then also finding the difference between like what is true PBL and what is just doing a project at the end, like we had to try to balance that. But bless her heart, she did not give up on us. She brought in Jamie.
because she brought in Jamie, who, I think that was.
Jamie is a wealth of knowledge.
I think
She's
that was
so
one of
good at
our
this.
biggest
Yeah.
turning points,
Right.
because we were talking about PBLs, but I'm looking at PBLs like I have 6th grade brains in my classroom.
Yeah.
So Jamie really explained that a PBL in kindergarten and a PBL in 3rd grade and a PBL in 6th grade are all going to be different levels, different projects, different independence levels. Like in kindergarten, like I said earlier, I can't just send my kids off and expect them to execute this to my standards without that guidance.
I think what you guys are doing here is really wonderful, and we need to keep doing that. I think that one of the ladies who stood up and spoke at the meeting and said that we have a marketing problem, I would agree with that. I think we have to take it one step further and market what we're doing here and really attract people. Before that meeting, I actually said that very thing, like we have to market ourselves. I was talking to Karen and Tom earlier that day, we have to market ourselves, and I haven't had a chance to have this very conversation with Terry, but I've been waiting to do that, because I think that's really the next step, is how we can, attract, and I asked for all the data for, like, I wanna know where are all these superintendent's agreements, where are they going, why are they going, how come we're not keeping more of our students in
Yeah.
our schools? That's like really good data to have and to look at, to study, and to really dig in.
We don't have any superintendent agreements of kids in Friendship going to other districts. We do have some kids in Friendship.
Going to other schools, yeah.
Miller has an ACE program. Some
That's the
parents
big,
need an after-school program.
when I asked parents why, because I started doing this, and that's the number one reason, Friendship has an ACE program, I work, I can't get my kids after school or before school, and that's.
I think I have a solution to
Great,
that,
I can't wait to talk to you about that.
but,
And please implement it at Prescott, whatever you come up with.
Yeah.
Special needs kids who go to Miller or go to Warren, then their sibling goes to, because it's
Yeah.
easier for that.
Right.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
my solution wouldn't help Prescott. My solution is our bus driver lives in Waldoboro. His last stop on the way home could be at the ACE and dropping kids
We
off.
talked about that last year.
Yeah, we just didn't have, and I would have pursued it this year if we had parents that were asking for the ACE program. Our parents that need it are already there at
So that
Miller.
could be happening for Prescott to Union potentially, it's not.
Yes,
I mean, depending on what that,
absolutely.
it would, we can definitely look at it, those schools are close together and.
Like I say, there's options, it's just bringing them up and having
Yep.
the conversations and executing.
But I don't know if you heard this tonight or not, but what we try super hard to do, because we're small, and I think it's an advantage, is to personalize learning for all our kids. Our WIN groups, we just spent yesterday at our PLC time looking at each student and placing them in a different group each day of the week. Like, this child needs this, let's put this group in place. So kids might have 2 or 3 different groups, like 2 days here, 3 days here. We're able to really set up interventions and enrichment. A lot of it's enrichment. Chess Club is starting for our students based on what they need, because we know all of our students really, really well. I think you could name everyone, Sarah, in kindergarten that's in 6th grade. We are a community here. We share our kids, we know them really well. We have, which I think is a great opportunity, we have Owl's Head coming in every week. They come in with the challenge, there's hands-on activities, the kids have a blast with it. Today, you showed me the picture of the kids creating tangrams with their bodies after they were working.
Yeah, they turned one of them into like this giant a bunch of them combined their sets and turned it into this giant lobster. It was just really cool to see them think.
Yeah, I mean, I firmly believe that you have to have hands-on learning that's engaging for kids if you want kids to want to be in school. I am not saying there's not a place for worksheets because kids, or computers that are basically worksheets on computer, kids need to have rote practice in some things. Yeah, you know, it doesn't stick with it, but learning that's not relevant, that's not related to something that they're interested in it's boring.
Busy work you don't learn from busy work.
No.
Well, doing things on paper isn't always just busy work.
Right, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying sometimes we do things just repetitively.
And not everything fits into a project. You can't
Correct.
make everything a project.
Yeah.
Right,
Kids have to have handwriting practice.
Of course.
Right.
You know?
Honestly, we have to learn to write, we have to learn to write our numbers, our letters, to
They
spell.
have to learn how to write out mathematical equations and that kind of thing.
But I think if there's a purpose for solving a problem, or writing out an equation, or if you saw all the math those second graders did when they really wanted to purchase different equipment, and they had to take things off their list because they spent too much money and they had more money, so they added to it. They did math all day and didn't quite realize that they were doing math. Or my WIN group, Monday is math games, and I had this, it's called Incorum, but basically they have these numbers on a card and they have to make an equation that's true with them, and they have level stars. So my one group was working on the easy level and my other group was working on harder levels. They spent 30 minutes nonstop trying to get the most problems solved. Like if there's a purpose to it, and they're not doing a worksheet, they solve so many problems, and I check each one, they're doing them on whiteboards and erasing. They did not see that as a worksheet, or as practice, or as boring. They just wanted to get the most cards. So I think there's ways to make things interesting for kids where they just don't even quite realize that they're doing school.
I think anytime we can gamify learning, that's really a win for everybody.
Well, specifically speaking on that, last year we really focused on building a thinking classroom, vertical learning spaces, problems that really got us thinking. We got the books and we got a set of problems, and it was just crazy to see their brains and them not even realize it was math or they were learning. They saw it as a game to solve the problem.
Anybody else have any questions? It is 7:11, we are adjourned.